The Brewhouse was created to capture and share with you the long history of the Genesee Brewery. But the brewery itself isn't half as interesting as the beer and the people who make it. Visit GeneseeBrewhouse.com. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. This is the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. We're glad to have you with us. Jenna Cottrell rejoining us.
Thanks
Channel
for having
13.
me. Thanks
Good to have you back. Mike Catalana co-hosting along with. I have no idea what that is.
It's a 1985 Scott Howard jersey.
Of course it is.
From the movie Teen Wolf, the greatest movie in the history of mankind. No? Anybody? It's serious. You guys robbed of an Oscar?
So you went with the full look then today.
It's because it's Oscar week.
Well, I didn't have a Smurfs jersey to bring for you.
Did it win an Oscar?
It didn't.
No, it was close.
Love that movie, though.
Pat Duffy, nice to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, let's talk Tom Brady. First of all, we were at a Super Bowl party, playoff party. There's 30 people there. Just only 2 of us are pulling for New England. And I got into this argument, Jenna, with my kids this weekend. It says they won't. I tried to raise them as Patriots fans. They won't give any respect for this. And I just said, you have to appreciate the fact that this is a generational thing as to how great this New England Patriot run is. And I mean, you don't have to embrace it. You got to respect it. And I feel like for some reason, Tom Brady and this team just don't get the respect that they deserve.
I mean, they're easy to hate from the outside because of how good they really are. I mean, Brady is a 5-time Super Bowl champion, 4-time Super Bowl MVP, more than any other player. I mean, he's 40 years old also, and he's been able to win so much. He's also really good looking and married to Giselle. So I can see why a lot of people would really not care for him.
But those things shouldn't count against it, should they?
It always counts. I mean, looking at his record and how good he is and how good he has been, of course, people are going to hate that.
I was thought because Peyton Manning looked like a farmer. To your point, he was more popular.
But Peyton Manning was more flawed, though, because as a player, he didn't win as much. Look in the NBA. Steph Curry, right, is starting. There's starting to be a little bit of turn. He's a phenomenal player. He's winning. They're probably going to win again. And you're going to see that start to turn and turn and turn because you just get tired of seeing them be that good and that way. And Brady, the reason Brady does Uggs commercials and seriously, and Manning did, Buick commercials, is Manning seemed more relatable as a guy. Whether he is or he isn't, he certainly seemed that way. Brady doesn't seem that way. That's fine. It works for him. I think he wouldn't trade his life with anybody that's ever been on this planet. But at a point, people do respect him as a football player. He's going to win the MVP of the league again.
But see, that's what's so funny about these New England fans who, why did anyone respect Brady? Everybody respects Brady, and Mike hit it right on the head. Peyton Manning was one of us. Jim Kelly was one of us. Ben Roethlisberger is one of us. Tom Brady is not only not one of us, he goes out of his way to not be one of us, right? He sits and preaches about how if you drink enough water, you won't get sunburned, and if you buy my $250 cookbook, you can live just like me.
Now that's
Shut up,
recent
Tom
stuff.
Brady.
Yeah.
No, it's been happening this whole time. We have audio that we play on the break room all the time from an interview he did 4 years ago where he names every NFL sponsor when it comes to food and drink and rips them apart about how bad they are for you, for your body. Is that something you want to hear from a guy who also has 5 Super Bowl rings?
But the thing that they would always say, the people on the inside said, Peyton Manning was that guy, and Tom Brady was the guy we perceive Peyton Manning to be.
Now,
embraced by his teammates, one of the guys, and Manning was aloof.
That is different. You're talking about the way he is in that locker room with other football players.
That's more important, isn't it?
Certainly is, but don't tell the public that they can't dislike his personality. No one really likes his personality, right? He's aloof. He is measured. He gives nothing.
We praise Derek Jeter for those same things.
No. Yankees fans praise Derek Jeter for those same things.
Everyone does.
Everybody else hated Jeter on the outside.
They don't. I was a Red Sox fan. I never hated Derek Jeter. The one guy I had to put aside and say, the rest of those guys can go nowhere.
I will say Jeter, for whatever you thought about him, I never got the impression Jeter was preaching his superiority to other people. And Brady does have an air of that at all times. He just
But
does.
it's like you, if you are better, you can't be anything than other what you are.
But it doesn't. Yeah. No, it doesn't mean that everyone's gonna like you. And just the fact that like he talks about even not having like ice cream or just you can't even relate to him on a food level, on an attractiveness level, on a like being able to play level. I mean, he is. Well, yeah. He is the best of the best, and that's gonna garner hate.
But here's the thing that makes you hate him even more, because he's talented and he's successful, yet he still whines and cries about everything.
Yeah,
Every game you watch him in.
And the other part about him, which is also what makes him so great, it's almost as if they tease everybody by saying, you can beat me, because we've seen it. He's beaten. You're done. 28-3. Other team's on the goal line. And he finds a way to rip the heart out of the other team. And that, while it's respected as an athlete, the smugness that he comes up with after 5 championships is a lot for other fan bases to take. Sorry.
But that's what's so funny about Boston, right? Like, up until Brady showed up and up until the Red Sox won, this was this blue-collar, no BS, we are here to kick your you-know-what town, and then Brady shows up and everyone's wearing Uggs, and how dare you hurt my quarterback like that? What happened to you?
Yeah, what happened?
We're much better off. This is the Rochester Press Box presented by the Genesee Brewhouse. Time to talk about that other NFL team next. The Press Box, brought to you in part by Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys. Call 262-COMP, C-O-M-P, today. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brewhouse, and this portion brought to you by Connors and Ferris. Senior Bowl, kind of a disappointment that Mason Rudolph isn't playing.
Yeah, I think they would like to see him out there. The Senior Bowl is very different than the Combine. I think these are all pieces. The Bills are going to be looking at quarterbacks. I think it's pretty obvious they're drafting a quarterback somewhere. They have invested so much into this, or they are making plans to do so and to investigate. Senior Bowl, I think they get a chance to first meet with these guys. They get a chance to see them in a practice setting. They get to see them a little differently. Combine is very different. When they go to the Combine, yes, everybody's going to see them on the field. Everybody thinks that's what it is. But that part, I don't think means as much to them. It's the meetings, it's the medicals, it's all those things. These are all parts. And then they're going to do their own workouts. So there's plenty of chances to get to see Mason Rudolph. I think it depends. He's a guy that maybe you can sit where you are or go back or pick whatever, that you could maybe pick up a guy like that. Yes, I think it's disappointed the Bills don't get to see him, but I think they're looking at a big picture here, whether that's moving way up, staying where they are, or signing a veteran and waiting till later rounds.
Is Rudolph for you the guy?
I don't know.
From where they are?
I don't know. I look at the 83 draft, which is the greatest quarterback draft of all time, and for every Dan Marino, there's Ken O'Brien, right? And for every Jim Kelly, there's Todd Blackledge. That, you will never see a draft like that ever again. And 50% of the quarterbacks taken in the first round were massive busts. This is where my fear shows up, because I feel like, and tell me if you think I'm wrong, it's not an arrogance to McDermott, but an overconfidence that it's not the quarterback that's going to matter, it's the quarterback that can fit into his system. So my fear is that the Bills are going to stay put at 21 and 22, not take a quarterback, go defense, and find a guy in the second that they think fit their mold.
Okay, so, go ahead.
No, I think, like, branching off what you say, I don't think that is the case. I think McDermott knows, especially like in Carolina, obviously they had Cam Newton. I think he knows how pivotal the piece is. And I feel like having Brian Daboll here now, they're going to be able to build the offense how they want, but I think they know that they need to have a guy. They're not plugging him into his system. They're building the system around him.
Yeah, I'm with Jenna on this, because if Rick Dennison would have stayed, it really would have been an idea of like, oh, this is the system. We talked about the Patriots and the hate and all those things. You watch Do Your Job, which is the documentary NFL Films thing on Belichick. It is phenomenal. I enjoyed watching it, and they go with all these assistant coaches who talk about the things that he does and the team does. And Brian Daboll's in there, and he's an inner circle guy with the Patriots. And I find it kind of fascinating that that's the guy they went for. And he is a Buffalo guy. Like, he really loves Buffalo. He played at the U of R, but he is a Buffalo guy and wanted to come back here. And I think that shows that they're going down a little different road. Somebody was saying to me, well, he's at Alabama and they got moved. No, he's been a Patriots guy for most of his career. He knows what it takes in terms of You're going to get Tom Brady. You might not get Tom Brady. I think he knows what it takes, and he's seen the advantages you have when you have a smart, accurate quarterback. I think that's the model they're going to look for.
But I think that goes further to my point because everyone forgets that nobody forgets, but when they talk about elite quarterbacks, he was a 6th-round pick.
You are right, except we don't judge Tom Brady now. Well, he still does because he talks about it a lot. But we don't judge Tom Brady as a 6th-round quarterback. We talk him now, he is the greatest of all time. Yeah. Whatever way he got there, that's who he is. So I think if that's your model, I'm not saying you're getting Tom Brady. I'm saying that's your model. I think they're going to look at these guys that way. I think that's smart quarterbacks, and I think accurate quarterbacks.
What kind of take is that? This NFL coach is looking for a guy like Tom Brady. Every NFL coach is looking
but Jenna just mentioned.
Long term.
But you got Cam Newton.
And it's a unique opportunity. They're positioned such that it's a unique opportunity that you have to completely blow a season to get back to where you are right now. I mean, to finish with a record so bad that you're in a drafting position to do some good.
That's where a team like the Giants is in a position when are you going to be second over on the draft? Can you find a guy to take a quarterback, or are you going to force yourself to take one of the guys there? So it is interesting. But the reason I say that about Brady, yes, you say it, but Brady wasn't the biggest, strongest, but the elements that he has in his game, which is his accuracy and his smarts, which have come through, I think you see how that really plays out well on the field.
And I do think that the Bills have put themselves in a great position, having 5 picks in the top 3 rounds, to get and have that leverage to go get the guy that they want. Obviously, I think Sean McDermott is very metered in the way that he thinks. He's very measured in everything that he does, and he wants to see a guy that he can see have sustained success. And I think the fact that they have the ability to go up and get who they want, that factors in as well.
This is the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brew House, and this portion was brought to you by Connors and Ferris. Like it or not, next. Here's the Press Box trivia question, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390. Here's the Press Box trivia answer, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390. Welcome back to the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brew House. Yes, we're having a lot of fun here.
Yes.
Like it or not, Mike, let me give you this. It's just sort of broke. The Rochester Rhinos, why is the city giving the Dworkins such a tough time now?
Look, I think the Dworkins came in a bad situation with that stadium, with that team. Everybody knows there's been a lot of mistakes made. I think their intentions were right. I think they bit off a little more than they could chew. They did not get the support that they wanted. They're trying to hold on. If the city deems that it doesn't fit the lease, well, my hope would be that the city's got some other things planned there to take over that and use that stadium.
Could there be any other motivation?
I'm not really sure. And I got to say, I think it's difficult in this. Look at what's happened in other municipalities with our franchises here. It's not the easiest thing in the world. Look, this is not the Buffalo Bills. We're not talking about a team where you're making millions here, right? If it's minor league sports, it's basically survival and entertainment for the local people. So again, if you've got somebody else who wants to run it and is going to do a job and going to bring a team in, then bring those people in. But it does seem a bit forced on the city's part to be pushing them out the door. And to their side, they are attempting to hold on with this USL and bringing other teams in. I think that is more of a technicality to try to maintain some version of the lease. I'm not exactly sure what these other events are, that they're going to bring in, that anybody's going to bring in.
Mike Catalana Appreciation Night. So Mike would be there.
Definitely.
Pat, like it or not, what I think might be the sports story of the year are these Vegas Golden Knights leading the NHL.
It's remarkable for a couple of reasons. One, when it comes to the NHL and expansion teams, you don't have draft picks that make an immediate impact like the NFL or So you're doing this with the leftover garbage of the rest of the NHL teams, which leads me to my second point. How bad every NHL GM might be that these guys who nobody else wanted are coming together and playing great hockey. I mean, it really goes to show how important this system is to the development of an NHL player, because you have a bunch of former Sabres that are on that Vegas Golden Knights team right now that are outperforming guys that they were just pieces in trades for a couple of years ago. It's astounding.
It is interesting. If you go back to the NFL expansion when Jacksonville and Carolina came in and the way they set it up, those teams were able to build quickly, and within the second year, both were in the league championship game, as when Bill Pucko was running Carolina. And then they changed the parameters of how they do that because it made it a little too easy for these teams to acquire talent. But it's fascinating that a hockey team could move up that quickly.
Well, let me ask you quickly, when the playoffs come and the way the Stanley Cup playoffs are played differently, can Vegas win this thing?
Anybody can win. I mean, that's what's so great about the NHL above any other league is the 8th seed has just as much of a shot at that cup as the 1st seed does. And you see, year after year, a 5, 6, 7, 8 seed, all of a sudden, they're right there and become favorites halfway through.
God, I could buy into that. That would be great. This is the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brewhouse Unfinished Business. Is next.
With Dunkin' Deals, get a $2 medium latte from 2 to 6 p.m. Looks like it's latte o'clock. Time for a rich, creamy afternoon pick-me-up with a $2 medium latte from 2 to 6 p.m. America runs on Dunkin'.
Welcome back to the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brewhouse Unfinished Business, brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. Start us off.
So we got some great news, well, what seems like great news for local high school athletes. Bryant and Stratton, the technical college there, they've announced that they're having their first NCAA athletic team in the Rochester area. It's going to be a basketball team. And traditionally, if you don't know, Bryant and Stratton sports recruit as local as possible to the area that they're in, which means there's going to be 15 roster spots for kids that want to play past high school in the greater Rochester area. And I would assume that eventually they move on to different sports and there would be more opportunities for everybody. And as great as that sounds, it creates a bigger problem, because you know how much I hate parents that push their kids too far when it comes to sports. And the only thing that stops a lot of parents is the lack of opportunity when they look and see that my kid just isn't as good as these other kids, and why would I put this much effort into a kid that's going to be a dud? My father felt that way when I was growing up. What I'm saying is, the more opportunity that presents itself at a school like Bryant and Stratton, which is great, it's an activity, but it's probably not going to lead you anywhere, the more pressure there's going to be on kids that don't legitimately have a chance to play sports past high school. And there's no shame in that. Mike Catalana has made a fine career being a terrible athlete. My point is this: if you're going to watch your kid play basketball or hockey or volleyball or whatever, just let them go play and don't worry about what's going to happen after they get their diploma athletics-wise.
Okay, so you know how Duffy was so upset about the opportunity for kids to play sports? This week I got a reminder of how important that really is. In Section 5, the newest member of Greece Athena basketball is a senior, actually. He comes from Memphis, Tennessee. He transferred all the way up to Rochester, not to play basketball, but because of his father's new job. He got to a new school in New York, didn't know anyone, but through basketball he was able to make friends. Now, I'm not saying this is the incredible thing that doesn't happen all the time, but sports has been the bridge for him to actually feel at home. Transferring your senior year of high school, that's not easy, but the fact that he was able to make friends through the game that he loves and now is a captain for Athena makes you and reminds you of the fact that what sports can do for young people.
Yeah, you know, and I've met him, and he admits to being like, he's a quiet kid.
Yeah.
And says, like, if it weren't for basketball, I'm not sure
He said,
what would happen.
He literally said, I don't think I would have friends unless I had basketball. And I think that says in itself how important it is.
So the Super Bowl is coming up, the Eagles against the Patriots. And, you know, I grew up an Eagles fan my whole life, 50 plus years, and I've gotten an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. So I look for the chance to maybe go to this game. And really, Channel 13 has no reason to send me to this game other than everyone around here, probably except for Bill, rooting for the Eagles to win the game. It's not something that they would normally do. So I thought to myself, well, maybe I'll just go. And then I, like any other fan would be, started to look at what it would take and how the cost has changed and changed. Look, I've been really fortunate. I have gone to the Super Bowl on Channel 13's dime, and it's expensive, but it's not coming out of my pocket. And then I started to look at what it would cost and how much it would cost and how much time and effort and all that it would take, and I finally pulled the plug on it. I'm going home to New Jersey. I'm going to be with my brothers. I'm going to be with my family, my nieces and nephews. They're all Eagles fans, and we'll all watch. Yeah, would it be fun to be at the game? Sure. Would it be fun to pay those bills? Maybe not so much this time. And that's a reminder for Bills fans. I know it's been a long time, but the time is coming. Your Bills, Pat's Bills, will make it to the Super Bowl. Just right now, start saving your money, because it is not like it was back in the 90s.
Having done it, and I haven't,
Yeah.
is it worth going once?
I think it is as an experience, and when your team is there, it is unbelievable to be part of it. And I've experienced, again, covering the Bills, being there with the Eagles, it's a lot of fun. But man, it is a lot of money. So start saving out. Depends on the site, too. Sometimes in some of the sites, a little easier to get to, maybe than Minnesota. Start saving your money now, because that day for the Bills is coming.
Yes, it is. This is the Rochester Press Box, presented by the Genesee Brewhouse and Unfinished Business, presented by Dunkin' Donuts. Jenna, thanks for joining us again.
Thank you, guys.
Guys,
you.
good as
Not you,
always.
bet.
Why is she so mean?
And thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week for the Rochester Press Box.